On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype. We make it take flight.
Yeah, man, my viewers and subscribers, what go on? A blessed and wonderful Thursday evening to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now, my peeps, I don't know how we do it over on this side. So we have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we are going in Jamaica. So watch this now, my peeps. Not even here, we're going to kick it off with an update surrounding this dirty boy presently on your screen who took away the innocent people, them little pitney, from out of school on Tuesday. So we are going to hear from the mother of the 6-year-old that was taken on Tuesday at her school. We are talking about Nicola Barrett Glasgow, who says that the security guard at the institution saw when the old dirty boy, now may I wonder if the security guard collude with him. But the security guard see when the dirty man take the people them girl pitney and I head up the road with the little girl. And he saw it all and did nothing. The mother says that it wasn't until she and her spouse went to collect the child at the school that was when the police was alerted. The child's mother stated that she initiated and issued a picture of her daughter in school uniform in a public group setting on Tuesday afternoon. The child's mother says that she and her husband had just returned from Kingston and as routine went to pick up the child from school. But as both parents approached the school compound, they saw the security guard, greeted him as per usual, and asked of the whereabouts of the child. She was then told by the security guard that someone had already picked the child up. So now we're going to hear from the mother who weighs in on this terrible and heart-rending type of situation. Boy, may I tell you, my peeps, the thing rough, but we're glad. Said the regular ones and ones them out there in the street was alerted and the counselor sprang into action and saved the day. Now listen.
When my husband got to the gate, the security guard told him that someone had already picked her up, and my husband asked him, what do you mean by that? We did not send anyone to pick up our child. And he said, an elderly gentleman with a bucket. And then my husband went inside. Her teacher was inside her classroom. The teacher handed him her knapsack and her lunch bag. And he asked the teacher, where is Anka? And she said that she must be around the back. My husband went and checked, did not see her, asked another child who is in Anka's class, and he said the child told him that a gentleman went with Anka. I can tell you what Anka said. Anka said she was actually playing inside the yard. That's where she was. She said the man came and grabbed her, and she said she lost her voice. That is why she didn't scream. So the man came, grabbed her, and went through the gate. And the thing about it is that the security guard actually reported seeing the man going with Anka up the road and did absolutely nothing. So she did not go with him willingly. She was snatched. She was taken. We usually pick her up from school, and he saw that there was this, and normally because the child did not even have her school bag, she did not have her lunch kit, and that should have really set off a red flag right away.
Right.
I mean, the man just basically walked into the compound, grabbed her child, and walked back through the gate, went up the road. Security saw him going because that's why he described him that way. Of course, when after some time and after we had started searching and so on and we came back, there was a different description given that it was now someone in their 30s and in their 40s.
Now to the police officers investigating this particular case. Think of the need for nab the security guard, and interrogate him some more because maybe, just maybe, he might collude with the criminal element. We're going to take the people in Pitney. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about, my peeps, some more members of the NCB Bank is presently behind bars as the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency that's MOCA, supported by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, has arrested 4 suspects in connection with an investigation into a smishing fraud at the National Commercial Bank. The 4 who are accused of stealing over 80 million Jamaican dollars through a phishing, smishing, and vishing attacks between April 2022 and December 2023. So it is alleged that the NCB employees who are now in the custody of the police have robbed, or should I say, defrauded, not 1 or 2 or even 3, but 8 NCB account holders by transferring the funds to 23 beneficiaries who are involved in the criminal scheme. The 4 are expected to be charged shortly. Now, for those who don't understand the term phishing or smishing, the phishing and smishing scams refer to the use of fraudulent emails and texts, respectively, fashioned to mirror a legitimate company's communication with an aim of soliciting the victim's access information. So people, anytime you get a text or email from NCB, don't click on it. Make sure so you get some time, walk go in at the bank, go sit down with customer care to verify the information that was sent via the bank. Yeah, man. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about, my peeps, is coming out of the St. Ann Police Division, where 2 elderly residents were found lifeless in separate incidents in the parish of St. Ann. Now 2 communities in St. Ann are mourning the loss of life of 2 senior citizens whose lifeless body was found in an advanced state of decomposition on Tuesday. The deceased have since been identified as 75-year-old farmer Arthur Barrett, said to be of a Caledonia district, and 72-year-old retiree Winsome Chang Garden, said to be of a Madras district, also in Wattown. Now, Chang Garden's body, that's Winsome Chang Garden's body, was discovered at her home sometime around 8:10 a.m., the police says. Almost 2 hours later, around 10 a.m., the body of the male, that's Arthur Bennett, was found at his residence in the neighboring community of Caledonia District. Both scenes were processed by investigators and the bodies removed to the morgue for post-mortem examinations. Now, my peeps, if you don't have an elderly family, them man, you don't need to go check on the people them star. Can you imagine the people them lose them 3 pints? Go that sickly and drop down dead in the house. We just hope no foul play never involved, because the police then couldn't really check the body because of the advanced state of decomposition. But more than likely, them just stay in there and just pass off, and there was nobody if go check on the people them. Boy, may I tell them, my peeps, we need that community to rally around the elders like we used to do back in the days. Let's get back to that, Jamaicans. Now, still in the St. Ann Police Division, a teenager who was listed as wanted by the police in relation to a fatality in St. Ann did the right thing and turned in himself. The teenager who was wanted for the loss of life of a man in Steertown in St. Ann on the 5th of December, him surrender. So Senior Superintendent of Police Carl Russell stated that the 17-year-old of a Roaring River Steertown address turned in himself to the St. Ann's Bay Police Station about 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday. He was wanted for the fatal knockings and clappings of a 47-year-old man identified as Marlon Currie, said to be of a Steertown address also. On the night of the 5th of December, Mr. Currie was in an area known as Little Tivoli in Steertown, St. Ann, when he was gunned down by armed criminal elements. He was pronounced, you know what, at the hospital. Eyewitness reports suggest that the 17-year-old was the triggerman behind that particular fatal knockings and clappings. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is still in the St. Ann Police Division, where the St. Ann Police are now probing an ammunition find at a food establishment. So the St. Ann Police states that they are investigating a mysterious find of ammunition in Ocherius on Tuesday. Sometime around 1:20 p.m., the cops received information that 2 magazines were seen in the bathroom on the floor of Juicy Patty's outlets on Newlyn Street in Ocherius. Upon the arrival of the police recovered the 2 magazines with 13 rounds of ammunition on the floor. They were taken to the Area 2 headquarters, where they are presently being processed by the police. Really mysterious for you. Some I don't know. But as Bling Dog would I say, then if I know me, then I who. Yeah, man. So we're going to hear from the Prime Minister of Jamaica, you know, that's Dr. Andrew Holness, as he weighs in on Jamaica's crime situation as it performs a downward trajectory, and we feel good about that. Over 30 years now, Jamaica now see the crime rates low, in fact, as far back as from 1994. So many of the ones them we grew up in them 30s and even at them 40s, because if you're in your 40s, you're too young to remember. But persons in them 30s have never seen it this low ever before. And then after we hear from Andrew Holness, we're going to hear from a regular member of Chan Public who weighed in on Chief Currie's statement in their compound town situation. Then, of course, on the Spot News Media, I go give theme input as it relates to that. And then, of course, we're going to hold our reasoning about that in the comment section. Now listen.
The police force has become far more effective in doing its job. I can say with great confidence that the JCF and the JDF have mainstreamed and internalized human rights training. It is part of their doctrine. It is part of their leadership culture. And they do try, as far as they can, to protect lives, including the lives of criminals. I hear a great deal of talk about the increase in the number of police killings. And I too have my own concerns about this, because I don't want it to ever be said that, you know, our police force is the most lethal. That's not the kind of police force that we are trying to create. But I believe that on the other side of the ledger, on the other side of the argument, we must also be concerned about the propensity of criminals to challenge the police. I don't hear anyone saying, why are these criminals shooting at the police? Why, when they are stopped, why, when they are interdicted, they decide to challenge the police? As I have said earlier, we have invested heavily in our police force to make them more effective. And the Jamaican state must never be at threat or at risk of criminals. If criminals challenge the state, they must not win. Our police officers must go home to their families safely. So, whilst we do have our concerns, and we have put systems in place, both internally at the leadership level, we support INDICOM and its own operations. We encourage the internal review and use of force policy in the JCF. When we meet in the National Security Council, these are matters that are discussed because we want our police force to, more than anything else, serve, protect, and preserve life. This is also a message to the criminals. Save your life, don't challenge the police. Result speaks with unmatched clarity. As at December 8, 2025, Jamaica recorded 632 murders, 463 fewer than the same period last year. That represents a 42.5% reduction in killings, with projections placing total murders to below 700 by year-end. Shootings are also down 32%. These are numbers Jamaica has not seen in over 3 decades. And it is a direct outcome of sustained anti-gang operations, legislative reform, intelligence coordination, and the disciplined application of the clear hold build strategy within the zones of special operations. Let us be clear, gangs thrive where the state retreats. Zozos represent the permanent return of the state. Security, social services, infrastructure, education, health, and opportunity. We are returning the state into communities that were previously abandoned to criminal governance. The zones do not merely suppress violence. They dismantle the ecosystem that allows gangs to recruit, extort, intimidate, and control. Even as we register historic gains, we remain sober about the risks. Hurricane Melissa has undoubtedly created new vulnerabilities: displacement, economic shock, psychological trauma, and opportunities for criminal exploitation. This is precisely why Zozos are more relevant now than ever. They harden communities against regression. They prevent shocks from becoming opportunities for gangs to reassert control. They protect the gains that Jamaicans have sacrificed to achieve. Madam Speaker, the road ahead requires discipline, endurance, and national unity. Security is a continuous building exercise. And this is why the government has made and will continue to make major financial and institutional investments in the zones of special operations. These investments have already delivered measurable reductions in serious violent crimes, tangible physical transformation, and sustained support for citizens whose lives were once defined by fear. Madam Speaker, through the clear hold build framework enshrined in the law reform legislation, the state clears gangs from spaces, holds that space with reinforced security, and then builds lasting social and economic infrastructure. This is how we permanently restore meaningful citizenship, dignity, and lawful authority. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we now seek the continued support of this Honourable House to extend all 7 existing zones of special operations: Mount Salem, Denham Town, August Town, Greenwich Town, Norwood, Parade Gardens, and Savannah Lamar. Madam Speaker, the ministry papers have been tabled, which outlines the activities for the last period. In terms of murder statistics, the data provided by the Jamaica Constabulary Force as at December 6, 2025, for the period prior to and during the declaration of the respective Zozos, there has been an overall 38% reduction in murders and a 48% reduction in shootings for all zones for the comparative period. This extension will be an affirmation of success and a declaration of resolve. Madam Speaker, Jamaica has turned a corner. We are no longer managing violence, we are breaking its back. And the zones of special operations stand at the very center of that historic national transformation. I come before this Honourable House not merely to seek the extension of the zones of special operations, but to affirm unequivocally that we are winning the war against gang violence. Madam Speaker, over the last 9 years, Jamaica has achieved historic socio-economic and infrastructural progress, coupled with decisive security reforms, intelligence-led policing, and an unrelenting focus on dismantling criminal gangs. Even in the wake of the most devastating natural disaster in our modern history, Hurricane Melissa, which inflicted damage estimated at $8.8 billion or 41% of GDP and affected over 900,000 persons, public order held. The institutions of the state held. Our security architecture held. Madam Speaker, this resilience is the product of deliberate policy choices in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Despite widespread displacement, disruption of livelihoods, and infrastructure damage, the security forces reported no widespread breakdown of law and order. Outside of 3 isolated incidents of looting, which were swiftly contained, Jamaica did not descend into chaos. That outcome stands as powerful evidence of a security apparatus that is now more robust, more coordinated, and more trusted than at any point in recent history.
Mr. Currie made a mistake. He thought the Prime Minister was asking him permission to send the JDF to repair the roofs that need to be repaired. Now consider this. You are leading a population of people who has lost 80% of their roof. You do not have the resources to repair them, because if you did, you would have started the process and you would have been further along in this whole process. But you thought the Prime Minister was requesting to send the JDF? No, the PM was informing you. He was being civil. He was trying not to be a bully. He was trying to respect your leadership. But you took it a bit too far. The country is one. We have one Prime Minister. You may enjoy some privileges in the Maroon country, and the government has not indicated in any way, shape, or form that they want to impose on you. But under the Constitution of Jamaica, there is no sovereign nation within Jamaica. And this treaty that was signed many years ago is not even mentioned in the Constitution. So good luck with that. So here is the challenge, Mr. Currie. What will be your next move? Are you gonna rally your bragadistas, your assassins, to stand up against the JDF? Good luck with that. The Prime Minister of Jamaica would have made a serious error if he had let this slide and not sent in the JDF. He would have fed into your cheap mongoose mentality politics. But he has a responsibility for every single Jamaican, whether they like it or not. And the JDF will be in Maroon Town, in a compound, repairing the roofs for Jamaicans, for the children who are looking up in the sky, who are traumatized whenever it rains, and you are standing in the way of them having proper shelter? Well, sir, you have stepped across the line.
In support of what this regular member of Chan Public is saying in his pronouncement, 100%. And why? The other day when I dropped the vlog, where Chief Currie make him statement, Read through the comments and many of the ones them I say why them not just leave them alone. Give them the material and make them fix it themselves and make the JDF go which part they are most needed, which totally get it. But I miss the big picture. The fact that Chief Currie stated that he don't want the JDF in there to militarize a compound, that is making a very bold statement. That particular term, all of what he stated, fine. I have no problem with it, but that term, that he don't want the militarization of a compound town, that is making a very bold statement. What he is basically doing, no much different from when time back in our days when police used to afraid to go in at Tivoli Gardens because of its indoor militants and because of the political backing. Basically the same thing Currie try to pull off because he is more leaned to one sector of the political divide, which is the PNP, which him have all right as a Jamaican citizen to choose whichever party he want to support. But my thing on the Spot News Media thing is that whilst you may not respect Andrew Holness the person, you have to respect the office that he holds, which is the Prime Minister's office. So regardless of who was sitting in that office, whether it be Mark Golding or Andrew Holness or whosoever it may be, my stance would have been the very same. As the Prime Minister of Jamaica, whomever you are, you must make it abundantly clear that it is one Jamaica and nowhere on our blessed island home of Jamaica is or should not be accessible by the country's national security forces. So again, let me reaffirm my statement. Regardless of how you may feel about Andrew Holness the person, you must respect the office of the Prime Minister. I don't give two shits if you want to respect the person himself, but the office must be respected. So whether, again, it was Mark Golding sitting in that office or Andrew Holness, I care zero. My stance would have still been the same. Yeah, man. So anyway, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in a subsequent newscast. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.